everyone. I hope you're having a great day. So for today's lesson, we will have grammar. We will discuss modals. So later we will define what modals are. We will also discuss the different categories of modals and also the functions of modals. Okay, so I hope you will enjoy our discussion today, and I hope that you will participate as well. Okay, so let me now show you my screen so we can start with our discussion. Okay, so what are modals? Modals are known as modal verbs, and they are a type of auxiliary verb that show a speaker's attitude about what they are expressing. So they can express permission, ability, obligation, and so on. So we will tap all of those later. We have here on the list the common modals that we use, and I hope that you are all familiar with them. So we have can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, and would. Okay, so what are the things that we need to remember when we talk of modals? First, modals cannot be used as main verbs. So as we defined a while ago, modals are auxiliary verbs, meaning they are helping verbs. They do not appear or stand on their own. They must and always be part of a main verb. Okay, for example, I can dance. Okay, so can is a modal verb and it always is attached to a main verb. So for example, can dance. So can modal is attached to the main verb dance. Okay. Another thing is that modal verbs do not have all the tenses. Okay, so we will have that later on. Modal verbs also use other verbs to complete the tenses. Okay, so example, can is completed with the phrase be able to. Must, on the other hand, is completed with the phrase have to. Okay, so here are some of our examples. So the first sentence says they can play the piano. Okay, so here we have the modal can. Okay, and it is attached to the main verb play. Next, they will be able to play the piano in the future. Okay, so what is our modal? So we have here the modal will. Okay, and it is attached to what? The verb or the main verb play. Okay, so another, we have the sentence, you must come early. We have the modal verb must, and it is attached to the verb or to the main verb come. Another example, you had to come early yesterday. Okay, so this is what we were saying earlier, that not all modals do have tenses. They must be attached to a certain phrase to indicate its tense. So in here we have you had to come early yesterday. So this one, had to, has been the word must is replaced with had to. So had is in the past to indicate that the action happened in the past. Okay, so next, what are the categories of modals? So we have the single concept modals, the double concept modals, and the modals in the past. So we'll start with the single concept modals. What are the single concept modals? So we have the modal will. So when you say single concept, they only give, or they are only attached to a single concept or to one concept. So for example, the modal will is used to indicate future. Okay, so for example, Joe will travel to Manila next week. So our modal is will, okay, here, and our main verb is travel. So the modal indicates that the action will happen in the future. Okay, next single concept modal is might. So what does it indicate? Okay, so the concept is small probability. It indicates small probability. For example, I might move to Singapore someday. So you have here in this sentence, okay, the modal might attached to the main verb move. Okay, so might indicates that there is a small probability that the subject, okay, might move to Singapore someday. Alright, so I hope you can follow. Next slide. We have the modal should, and it indicates recommendation. Example, you should go to the doctor. Okay, so should go. Okay, so we have here the modal should and then the main verb go. So it indicates that the speaker, the one who, the persona, the one who speaks in this sentence, is recommending that the one spoken to should go to the doctor. Next, we have the modal ought to, and it indicates a formal recommendation. So they are almost the same. It's just that you use the modal ought to when you are recommending formally. Okay, so example, we ought to know about first aids. Okay, next. Okay, so we have one more left of a modal with a single concept. So we have had better. So had better indicates warning. Example, I had better study or I will fail the test. Okay, so we have the modal had better attached to the main verb study. So it is a warning. If this action did not happen, it will result to another action. Okay, so that's when and how we use the modal had better. Okay, shall we move on to the next category? Okay, so now we will be discussing the double concept modals. Okay, so from the term itself, double concept, it can indicate two or more concepts. Okay, so example, so the first item that you have here is the modal may. So it can indicate either permission or good probability. So for example, may I come in? So in the first example, what does it indicate? Okay, so it indicates the concept is permission. The one who's speaking in here is asking for permission. May I come in? On the next example, we have we may visit Japan this summer. Okay, so we may visit. So we have here the modal verb may attached to the verb visit, which indicates that there is a probability that the one, okay, who speaks together with his company will may visit a place, okay, this summer. Next, okay, we have the modal must, and it can indicate either responsibility or assumption. In the first example, everyone must pay taxes. So the first one indicates that it's the responsibility of everyone to pay taxes. The second example, she did not arrive. She must be busy. So the sentence or the sentences indicate assumption. Okay? The reason why she did not arrive is that she must be busy. Okay, next is would. Okay, what does this modal indicate? So it can either indicate the past, okay, or an action used to happen, or the present and real. Okay, so let's have the first example. When I was young, I would play soccer. Okay, so it indicates the action in the past, or probably a habit, okay, or something that is done in the past. It says when I was young, okay, so the action that has been done before is playing soccer, right? So when I was young, I would play soccer. In the next example, it says I would buy the car, but I can't afford it. So that's present unreal. I would buy the car, but I can't afford it. Next, shall. It indicates either an educated expression or a contractual. So contractual obligation. So in the first example, excuse me, I shall go now. Right? So excuse me, I shall go now. It is, or it indicates what? An educated expression. So I shall go now. Okay. Next, contractual obligation. The company shall pay on January 1st. Okay. So that is what we mean by contractual obligation. So it is an obligation for the company to pay on the 1st of January. Alright. So next, we have another modal is could, and it indicates either unreal ability or past ability. Okay, so first, I could go if I had time. Okay, so it's unreal ability. Why unreal ability? Because it is impossible for something to happen. Okay, that's why it's unreal ability. I could go if I had time. Okay, next, she could play the piano, but she can't. Okay, so she could play. Okay, we have the modal could attached to the main verb play. Now, so it indicates the past ability, meaning before, okay, she could play the piano. Okay, next is the modal can, and it indicates either present ability or permission. So in the first example, we have we can speak English. So it's a present ability, meaning the moment that the speaker says that, he or she or they have the ability to do the action. While on the second example, can I have a candy? Okay, so the persona or the one speaking asks for permission. Can I have a candy? Next. Okay, so here's the summary of the modals that we have. So the modals can either show probability or possibility, ability, permission, obligation or advice, and offer. So let us just recap what we have discussed. So can, okay, is a double, what do you call this? A double concept modal. So it can either express ability or permission. So can't, it's just the opposite of it. If can indicates ability, can't, okay, indicates what do you call this? The opposite of it. And it can also indicate probability or possibility. For example, she can't be his mom. She's too young. Okay. Next is might. So we have the modal might that also indicates probability and possibility. Could, okay, so it can indicate ability, permission, and so as probability and possibility. May, it indicates possibility and permission. Must is also a double concept modal, which can either indicate possibility or probability and obligation. Have to, okay, is a single concept modal which indicates obligation or advice. Shall, okay, can either indicate obligation or advice and offer. Okay, should or ought to, okay, so it indicates obligation or advice. Same with had better. Would, on the other hand, indicates offer. Okay, so question. Now, let's discuss modals in the past. Okay, so what are these? They are modals referred to actions that happened in the past. Okay, so how do we form the modals in the past? So we have the modal plus have, the word have, plus the verb in the past participle. Okay, for example, it must have been a difficult decision. Okay, so we have here the modal must, okay, attached to the word have and attached to the past participle of the verb be, right? Okay, so I must have been a it must have been a difficult decision. Okay, another example, they should have invited her to the wedding. So we have the modal should attached to the word have and attached to the past participle of the verb invite. So should have invited. They should have invited her to their wedding. Okay, so that's all. Here are the references.